Hi. Today we're not at Ofofo studio. We are at T Hub in Hyderabad. And I have with me Mr. Sreekar Reddy. Sreekar Reddy is the founder and CEO of PR Sutras, a PR management consulting. All right. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sreekar. Uh, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Yeah.
This is Sreekar Reddy. Thank you so much for inviting me, to this show. I'm a PR consultant. So essentially, when I say PR consulting, you are helping your clients with disseminating positive communication about them.
Okay.
And sometimes, you also have to help them when something then undesired communication gets into the market that
Right.
reaches out to stakeholders.
Right.
You also have to help him, how to nip that in the bud. And second, now how do you do that communication management, which is called crisis communication.
Got it.
So, but most of the time for a public relations consultant, the role is to help his client spread that positive message uh, that it reaches out to its stakeholders.
Got it.
Primarily, the companies require, 3-4 sets of important, stakeholders. Like you see, customers.
Right.
So you have to sell your products or services. And second, people have to know in general. They may not be your customer today, but that's a person who could be a customer in the future, or who will probably influence your buying your products and services buying trends.
Right. Right.
Then could be a investor, because if you are a startup, you will need money to scale up faster,
Right.
move faster in the business.
Right.
So for that you need money. So obviously an informed investor would be more interested, and if an investor who is assuming that you are a good company, great startup, and great people are here, the founder and all that,
Right.
obviously it helps them. And then the regulatory, mechanism or authorities also will be, an important point.
Yeah.
Or it also happens sometimes, you may have won some award.
Right.
See, now you celebrate, but you want people to know
Yeah. Yeah.
that you got an appreciation, a certificate, an award
Yeah.
from, so and so organization or the governments.
Yeah.
So usually these 3-4 ways, a public relations consultant helps you, that how you do your messaging and communicate this to the required stakeholders.
So, is the role more about bringing an honest picture of your customer to the people outside, or is it about understanding what it is that people want to perceive and asking your customer to mold themselves into that frame?
See, the second one works always great, because you are in the business of the certain products and services,
Right.
and when you are in sync with your customer,
Yeah.
probably you will be able to sell more.
Correct. Correct.
When you do more products or services which fit into his requirement,
Yeah.
so you will be able to sell more. The same way, now as an organization, as an entrepreneur also, you need to be perceived the same way.
Absolutely.
See, this is the guy
Yeah.
we should buy it from. That's why you will see world over,
Yeah.
there are these superstar entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They go beyond their business. They talk about society, they
Yeah.
talk about the challenges, they talk about a lot of issues related to the society. Probably they may not be doing all. I mean, all the challenges that society is going through.
Right.
If he's a techie, he will talk about a certain space.
Absolutely,
So that's what is happening.
Yeah.
So in order to be perceived that you are a right person,
Yeah.
and I should buy your services and products, yes, you need to be.
Okay. And within organizations, who are the people that you talk to? It'll be directly leadership at Zoom.
Yes. Most of the time for startups, it is founders.
Okay.
The founders and co-founders, because the media communication has to be done by the founder himself.
Right.
In a large system, probably there may be people, the senior, managers like the managing directors and other people may be able to do. But what I've observed for startups, most of the time the founders and co-founders will be doing, the communication about their company, services and products.
So, how much of the job is managing the PR of the founders versus PR of the company?
It depends. Like, if you take an example, if you ask a lot of people in our society, who is the managing director of TCS,
Yeah.
it is difficult for them to recall.
Right.
But if you ask them who is the founder of Infosys,
Right.
a lot of people will tell you.
Correct. Correct.
So the organizations decide whether their founder has to have a bigger image than the organization, or the organization will have sometimes bigger image than the founder.
Yeah.
Because that's a careful decision that usually, the bosses do.
Okay. Okay.
Because that also, I mean, the reasons like, if I am good enough,
Yeah.
I'm big enough,
Yeah.
I will always be able to support my organization and its products and services with my image.
Correct. Correct.
That will have a pull.
Correct.
And there are people who decide, what my products and services matter, not me.
Right.
I'm just want to be behind the company. So it is your choice how you want to do. And it also goes by their personality,
Right.
largely.
Right.
Because a lot of people, would not like to come forward and do
Correct,
it, but they want to do brilliant work,
Yeah.
And another reason why they do it is, you will have to invest time also.
Right.
Where people, in the beginning days, I've seen it with a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to spend a lot of time on their products and services.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Probably they'll not appreciate, talking to people
Right.
more than, working on their products and services.
Yeah, there are numerous such examples, right? Everybody would be focused more on the industry that they're in, right? I mean, whatever is the driver for their business. But these things are often overlooked. So when companies come to you, when founders come to you, where you can see that they've only focused on their core competency, what are the initial few things that you ask them to do?
See, I mean, what I've seen with the most of the startup founders, when they have a product ready or a service ready,
Yeah.
that's when they come to me.
Right.
Ideally, they want to create that buzz around those, products launch and all that.
Correct.
So, what we will do is, I mean, from the PR side, based on your product, which publications work better for you,
Okay. Okay.
and what should be your communication model, or what should be your communication tool,
Okay.
and which publications you will go.
What are some of the examples?
See, like what happens when someone is ready to talk to press.
Yeah.
So he needs to know why he's talking,
Right.
right? One.
Right. Right.
Second, then what is he talking?
Yeah.
Meaning the message. Suppose, imagine you want to raise some money, thinking of raising 5 million USD.
Yeah.
Let's
Any
assume.
important announcement?
Then probably you should be talking this to a financial daily,
Correct.
not a mainstream, the mainstream publication.
Right.
Right? When you have some message for your customer or general public, then you go to mainstream publication which have huge reach.
Yes.
And it happens most of the time even in the regional languages.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? The Hindi publications have larger reach than English publications.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But financial publications have very limited reach, but they go to certain audience that you have to communicate. The
High
financial
intent people, yeah.
the financial communication.
Correct.
In the same way, now depending on your products and services state, probably now you imagine you have TV media also to talk to,
Right.
or you have influencers.
Right.
They are communicating to your audience.
Right.
So this is where now we will help the founder
Right.
as how to organize his message,
Correct.
so that he will get the maximum impact of it.
Got it.
So you have a purpose to do.
Yeah.
You are not just communicating randomly.
Got it. Got it.
You have a reason to do. You have a purpose to do.
Yeah.
And for a PR consultant, his role is to help you reach out to that purpose. So that when that happens, when the PR consultant even will help you strategize and plan that message.
Okay.
It may not be just a plain that you have something, I'll help you communicate to the people.
Got it.
Probably you have this message, if you tweak it this way,
Right.
it will reach out to the exact person that you are trying to communicate to, so that you will maximize the benefit out of that communication.
Got it. Got it. In the last 10, 15 years or so, like social media has disrupted this space, right? Like people have become their own mouthpieces, right? Everybody is a broadcaster these days. So how has the space evolved according to you in the last couple of decades?
See, now I feel social media is a lot, is having a big impact on
Yeah.
a lot of things in the society.
Yeah.
So on the startups, but I see now on online, we have very popular and powerful startup portals in the country.
Right. Right.
So you cannot afford to miss them.
Correct. Correct.
And now, the online media, there is a digital media and there is a social media.
Right.
So depending on the power of your message that you are trying to communicate, you will choose to reach out to either to social media or other digital platform. When I'm saying digital platform, the news portals,
Yeah.
right? Those bloggers,
Right.
those people.
Right.
Social media is largely, it is going to the Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook, or Instagram, depending on your audience.
Right.
But again, there are influencers now. They're quite large influence on the audience. If I have to give you an example, like you are doing an healthcare tech startup,
Right.
and there is someone who is already talking about that space, is a blogger, or even is a vlogger,
Yeah.
or a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Probably if he has those 1 lakh audience, so that's right bang on, for you to reach out to him,
Absolutely.
rather than going to the mass media and all that.
Yeah.
Because here everybody who is
More
watching
focused.
him
Yeah.
are relevant for you.
Right.
So you need to figure it out. And now that makes your job also easy.
Yes. Correct.
So it has tremendous influence now.
Right. Can you share some stories or some examples of some of the customers that you've helped?
Yeah. So there is a serial entrepreneur who approached me
Okay.
saying that he's trying to work on an idea which is in dietitian space,
Okay.
but he wanted to validate the idea.
Okay.
So what he did is he wanted to reach out to the people in order to find out if people like that idea or not. So we have floated a toll-free number. It was actually giving a missed call.
Okay.
So when this was published by a couple of publications saying that there is this dietitian services are available, and you have to at home.
Yeah.
So you have to just give a missed call.
Yeah.
And we have published that number. And then next day he told me that he got 400 calls.
Wow.
So 400 people gave him missed call.
Okay.
And out of that, some 350 people wanted to discuss more as what they were looking at and all that. And he said after that, it was a fantastic feedback from them I got. But then I have also realized, based on the feedback, that I cannot take this idea forward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got
So that-
validation.
yeah. So it was not like people did not like it, but people liked it for a different reason than what he was expecting.
Right.
So his hypothesis was proved wrong.
Right. But he still got a clear
Still
answer.
got. And I still remember he told me, "Thank you, buddy. I would have spent a couple of years to find the same result,
Yeah.
rather than I've just invested 50,000 rupees
Yeah.
on this and a particular activity. It got resolved."
Yeah.
So he could,
That's like.
was so happy actually doing that.
Huh.
Indeed, I remember, when one of the early, startups into food order.
Okay.
So when they were ready, they approached me and they asked me, "Can you help us reach out to customers? This is a new concept that now people can order food." And those founders used to have their own bikes
Okay.
and their own team.
Okay.
So they were delivering on by their own. So not much before all these food apps that you see now.
Right.
And we got that published in one of the regional publications. And they told me next day their site got crashed because there was 10,000 people visited. So they were not ready to receive so many.
Yeah.
And they realized they cannot deliver if it is large scale because they have to hire so many people.
Right.
And they also realized the orders are only coming into a certain space. If it is lunch only 1 hour to 1.5 hours or 2 hours max, you will get all orders.
Right.
So, but your delivery guy cannot do 2 orders at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's where they realized indeed they had to shut the shop actually.
Okay.
They did that. And I would like to narrate one more, example that I worked with an entrepreneur. So there was this entrepreneur, we got him a story in a financial daily. So the next day he called me, he said, you please come over to the office. He was little, excited. It was not the usual case. Then I went and, I met him. He was very excited, I have to tell you this. So he's been going around and meeting this banker
Yeah.
the previous 3 times.
Yeah.
So to raise money for his startup. And every time it used to be like, he used to go and give his card and, send it inside, and it used to be 20 minutes waiting time. Then he used to meet him. He was still trying to negotiate the deal with that banker, and who is a senior person. This entrepreneur was around 28, 29 years, and that banker is senior. Yeah. So this time, now when this published in the morning, that day also he had an appointment. So by the time he went there, He got down out of his vehicle, and when he went inside, that banker was waiting for him at
Wow.
the door.
It makes you
It's-
seem bigger
yeah,
than you
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice to see you, buddy. I didn't know so much of a story about you. I read that this morning. It's so nice to know about you.
Yeah.
So he took him inside, he said he really felt special. That, thanks to that publication, what they wrote about him, his hard work, his startup, at least that guy gave him an audience, and, so it has happened. So now you are the more known for good reasons, the popular reasons or positive reasons,
Yeah.
the better the ecosystem accepts you.
Correct.
So that is why you need to do your PR.
Right. So do people come to you in cases of urgency?
Yes,
Yeah.
it happens. See, I mean, we call it sometimes, you have to face a crisis.
Right.
And now, thanks to social media, you will never know how, crisis breaks out, where it happens, and all
You
that.
can't predict.
We
Yeah.
cannot really predict.
Right.
So now as an entrepreneur, you keep on talking about your positive things,
Right.
about you and your company, products and services. And second, now you have to be right. If there is something, an undesired communication happens in the market,
Yeah.
now how do you handle that?
Okay.
So how quick you will be able to handle such things, but it will not spread and create problems for your challenges for your business.
All right.
So during such times, indeed, during such times, entrepreneur does not have anything in his mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we help the founders with how do you communicate, where do you communicate, whom do you communicate, and what is your message that you communicate.
Right.
What is the mechanism that you create now to address that challenge
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
control that. And sometimes it could so happen, if we analyze, that crisis could be an opportunity also for you.
Okay.
So it happens so in business.
All right.
So it's called crisis communication.
Okay.
So essentially, you have to be in touch with your PR consultant. Now he's like your doctor. During
Yeah,
such challenges, he'll come and help you.
Right.
So how to spin your message,
Right.
right? So those things we do. The crisis communication, crisis management is a big thing for any business now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So at what stage in their company, ideally, should a founder or an entrepreneur come to you?
See, usually I have seen people come to me when they're about to raise money.
Correct. Yeah. I would assume so.
But I've
Yeah.
also worked with founders who just wanted to validate their idea, so they came to me.
Right. Right.
They
right.
needed, the help with the media.
Yeah.
See if media covers this.
Yeah.
I'll get to see the traction, and then I decide whether I want to go forward or not.
Yeah.
Indeed, I have an investor who is interested, but he wants me to showcase some examples. So I need some real examples from the people. So this is one way of reaching out, they say.
Yeah.
But I see when they are about to raise the Series A fund and all that, that's when probably they are good enough in terms of their work in progress as a startup. And second, that is when probably they need also,
Right. Right.
because that's when some real value happens to the company when you raise money. And the third, they will become a little more matured about their business now.
Correct.
So the direction, the vision for the startup and all that.
Yeah.
So that's when they come to me, asking, we want to profile our company, and we want the founders to be profiled,
Right.
and we want to talk about the future scenario in our space and all that. So that's when they come to me.
Got it. So what are some low-hanging fruits that they can go after? Some do's and don'ts, tips and tricks. Is there anything that you would recommend?
What I've seen, I must have worked with some 60, 70 startups.
Okay. Okay.
So what I've seen, most of the time, the startups are good at explaining their product,
Yeah.
their vision.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to actually, teach them anything about
Yes,
it, because
yes.
they are the masters of their subject.
Right.
They do that.
Correct.
But as a PR consultant, you have to help them. Now, if you have this message, how do you spin it,
Right. Right.
right? And how do you handle, how do you understand the journalist requirement?
Yeah.
And what is that story angle? A little bit of media training.
Right.
And media has certain deadlines also you need to meet.
Yeah.
And what kind of statistics that you will require to present your view.
Yeah.
So those kind of things I help them. Indeed, that is where actually makes them a professional media speakers.
Got it. Got it. So one side of the equation is you managing the relationship with your client, right? The other side is to manage a relationship with all the publications and places that could be mouthpieces
Yeah.
for the customer. What is that side like?
See, what I noticed with the Indian media, they like startups.
Okay.
It's been there. I think they've been quite encouraging. But every time,
Yeah.
if it is whether it is a publication or a journalist, they look for a good story.
Yes. Yeah.
So, as a PR consultant, it's my job to dig that good story from the client that I'm working
Yeah.
and give it to the journalist. And as long as you meet his requirement, so he's always happy to profile that particular company.
Okay. So what are incentives for them? Like how are they incentivized to talk right about you?
There's nothing like an incentivizing because he's incentivizing him. The journalist is,
Yeah.
see, he has to do his work.
Right.
He
Right.
has to bring out good stories to the society,
Right.
right? So it's always that, what is this new thing happening? What is this latest thing happening? What is the latest technology?
Right.
So that would always be interesting for him.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So my final question for you today, Sreekar sir, is what would you recommend to a cybersecurity company in India? What should they do in order to be PR ready?
I mean, it's not just cybersecurity company, but any startup that I work, if you have a certain objective,
Right.
because everybody has to work on a business objective also,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if you have certain business objective, in order to meet that,
Yeah.
you just analyze how much media will help you to take this message. Now, when you're talking about cybersecurity, the little that I understand, there is a latest legislation or something is happening like
Yeah, the DPDP.
healthcare that you have to the data security,
data
in
privacy
healthcare
act,
and all
yes,
that.
yeah.
See, now as a cybersecurity startup, keep talking about how healthcare data is important. Please enlighten people, enlighten the company founders
Yeah.
how now what measure they should take, and how to handle if there is a crisis, because it can be the data theft or anything.
Sounds good.
Probably that automatically attracts them to approach you.
Yeah. 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 Makes sense.
Yeah. So you have to do that and engage media with that direction,
All right.
with that focus.
How can people reach out to you?
My email is sreekars@gmail.com. It is SREEKARS@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.